What's up, YouTube? PokePrimer here. Proud and ready to deliver you week number 7 of the PRD here on the channel. The Anaheim Appletons are back once again here, and we are doing pretty well this season, actually. I believe we're either 4-2 or 3-3. I don't remember off the top of my head. We're either 4-2 or 3-3. We're having a pretty good season so far. Can't really complain. And this week we are taking on Cece and the Vicious Victinis, who are currently 3-3. Her team is pretty interesting, but there's something even more interesting about it that I will get into right now. Her team consists of the G-Max Garbodor, Zygarde 100%, Blacephalon, Primarina, Nihilego, Heracross, Xurkitree, Tornadus Incarnate, Sneasel, Type Null, Leafeon, and D-Max Captain Metagross. Now, this team, I feel, I'm going to be completely honest, I did not prep for every Mon on my opponent's team. There might be something here or there to touch something on the other team, but I did not prep for every single Mon, because we are at week 7. And granted, I don't know if she has updated her week 6 stats yet. However, looking at the stats for the team, because we do have a games brought section, out of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 Mons, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them have come this whole season. Only 7. So I feel safe in prepping for pretty much exclusively those 7. And those 7 include Zygarde, Blacephalon, Primarina, Nihilego, Heracross, Xurkitree, and Metagross. Sneasel, Tornadus Incarnate, Type Null, Leafeon, and G-Max Garbodor have not come to a single game all season. And I don't know if this is the week where that's going to change. So I feel very comfortable in just prepping for that group of Mons. Is it a smart thing to do? Not particularly. However, I feel genuinely like I don't think when you get yourself into a pattern like that with your team building, I don't see people typically breaking that. So we're going to go off of that. We're going to see what happens. So those are the ones that I expect. Now, out of those, Zygarde 100%, I'm never worried about because it's really just a Zygarde with a little more HP. It's not the hardest thing in the world to break through, especially if you still have ice coverage. Like, I'm never worried about a Zygarde. I've never been worried about a Zygarde in my whole life. I can deal with Zygarde. I'm not stressing over that. Blacephalon, obviously, Nihilego, and Xurkitree, the triple Ultra Beast combination is fucking terrifying. I definitely have ways of dealing with all 3. It's just a matter of, dealing with whichever ones show up. If all 3 show up, it could be very problematic, but I think I'm fine. I think I have like I said, I have plenty of ways of dealing with that. And some of them just don't have as much punching power against my team as some other Mons he has. So, Primarina, or she has. I'm sorry. I apologize for messing up the pronouns there. I apologize. I just got lost in it for a second. Primarina is one of the Mons that's come 5 times. Against my team, Primarina is not great. It works well against a couple of the members I'm bringing, but I literally have Tapu Koko as an offensive option for it, and I have Kyogre as a defensive check to it. So, I don't know if Primarina shows up in this one. If it does, it makes my job a little bit easier. Heracross, it's a good Mon, but again, it's not particularly great against my team, per se. So, I have my ways of dealing with it. Xurkitree, again, it's like I have checks to it, so I'm not worried. particularly. I have my ways of beating the Xurkitree. I have 2 or 3 different ways of beating Xurkitree. And the Metagross. The Metagross is the one that I'm most terrified of, just because of the simple fact that it is the D-Max captain, and it's currently sitting at 11-4. So, like, it's died plenty of times. It's died 4 out of the 5 games it's come to, but that doesn't mean it's not an effective Mon. With the max steel spikes, giving it the defense boosts, being able to set up psychic terrain to avoid potential sucker punches, being a very good candidate for weakness policy, so I'm going to try to avoid hitting that thing with a... I'm going to try to avoid hitting that thing with a super effective attack if I can afford to. And getting access to things like Thunder Punch or Grass Knot or Earthquake, a bunch of different options for either setting up its defenses or being able to nuke some of its typical checks. It's definitely a threatening Mon for sure. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into our draft for this week. This week we're first off bringing Seaman the Kyogre. Kyogre is going to come pretty much almost every week, I feel. There's like I don't see many scenarios where I would not bring Kyogre. It's kind of just hard to determine why I wouldn't bring Kyogre. It just works well in a lot of team matchups. Just straight up kind of 3 attacks. Kyogre this week with Toxic. We have the Wakanberry. Wakanberry is prevalent for either Neolego, which I think also probably just be running Grass Knot instead, in my opinion. But also more prevalent for either Xurkitree or Metagross. Metagross could run the max Thunder Punch for max lightning to try to hit us really hard. So we'll be able to take it from that. Also, the Xurkitree, which is pretty frail, we can tank a Thunderbolt and then smack it back really hard with a Scald in the Rain, which I think actually has a chance to OHKO, which is pretty cool. We have Scald, Toxic, Ice Beam, Thunder. Max special attack, enough speed to outpace the Zygarde. Or, no, we don't have enough speed for Zygarde because we don't have speed Zygarde. Duh. We have enough speed for the Heracross, that's what it is. Which also allows us to outspeed Xurkitree if it's not Scarfed, and yada yada yada. Scald just kind of smacks everything that he typically brings pretty hard, especially in the rain. Primarina won't appreciate it even. Toxic is kind of there for the Primarina, so we can get a Toxic on that thing. Also kind of helps us with Zygarde a little bit. So we can try to Toxic that thing because we are not a Mon that he can set up a sub, or she can set up a sub in front of. Again, I apologize. She cannot set a sub in front of us with the Zygarde because obviously we have Ice Beam. Also, our Rain Boosted Water moves will break subs every time. So we can Toxic that thing before potentially we could set up a sub ever. And then we just spam Ice Beam and we beat it no matter what. So that's pretty sweet. Thunder helps us deal with the Primarina as well. But pretty much everything else just get absolutely nuked by Scald. And Scald's also going to be really important for the Metagross because potentially getting a burn on that thing will be incredibly huge. Next up, we have Kuwabara, the Escavalier. It has been so long since we brought one of our Max Mons, and it's been so long since we brought this one in particular. We have the Assault Vested, Shell Armor Escavalier here, Iron Head, Knockoff, Drill Run, and X-Scissor. One of the main things about this Mon as our Max Mon this week is we've got to be really careful about Blacephalon. However, Max Spadef AV in the rain, Escavalier actually lives, especially while Dynamaxed, a fire move from Blacephalon, which is very important. Also, guaranteed OHKOs it back with either Max Darkness or Max Quake. Ideally, we get a Max Quake off before Blacephalon comes in. If we can get a Max Quake off before Blacephalon comes in, if we max this thing in front of, say, Xurkitree, and we get a Max Quake off, we're in a really good position. We're in a very, very strong position. Because I definitely see, Metagross being, an agility weakness policy set, so I have to be very careful about it with this thing. But that's why we have the X-Scissor so we can hit, neutrally. Or we can just spam Max Steel Spike against it as well. I'm not really super worried about the Metagross. I'm definitely never going to try to 1v1 the Metagross with this thing. Be it Knockoff or Drill Run does really well against those Mons. For us, But yeah, if I can get off a max Quake before Blacephalon comes in, that would be really great. Because getting that SPDF boost on top of being max SPDF Assault Vest, that'd be ridiculous. This thing just hits really hard against his team, and it has a special wall against his team as well, with like several of his members being the Neolego, the Xurkitree, Primarina, all being like really hard-hitting special attackers. This thing just works really, really well here. Next up, we have Suzaku, the Tapu Koko with the Magnet, Electric Surge, Wild Charge, Dazzling Gleam, Roost, U-Turn. This set just kind of beats his team. We have enough speed, outpace. I said I wasn't really prepping for the rest of the team, but I still have to throw something there for it. I have enough speed to outpace Sneasel, which is his fastest Mon on the team, or her fastest Mon. I really am sorry. I'm trying my best. Yeah, it is still really early. I'm messing up these pronouns. I apologize. She, her, Sneasel. So sorry. So sorry. Anyways, we have Wild Charge, Dazzling Gleam, Roost, U-Turn. We have enough speed for Sneasel, so we can outpace that thing, just in case she brings it. I doubt it, but it could happen. We have 40 in special attack, 252 into our physical attack, and then 80 into HP. Wild Charge kind of just wrecks everything. Electric Surge boosted Wild Charge smacks everything on this team, bar Zygarde, so hard. If Zygarde comes in on this, we just U-turn out, unless it's kind of lowish, or then we Dazzling Gleam, but I don't want to like Dazzling Gleam it too early and potentially knock it into range of getting its father form, because that's just scary. So I U-turn out on this thing, on that thing every time, because I don't think she'll bring Scarf Zygarde. I doubt that. It just doesn't feel like a good idea. So I could easily be able to U-turn on that thing. But Wild Charge, other than that, Oko is everything else, or guaranteed 2 KOs everything else. It blows, like, because Neolego's physical defense is garbage. Blacephalon's physical defense is garbage. The Xurkitree resists it, but it still gets 2 KO'd. 2 KOs, Heracross guaranteed. Dazzling Gleam does so as well. Only thing that's not 2 KO'd guaranteed is Metagross, mostly because it can max, but that's fine. We still get big damage off on it, and we can U-turn out. Big damage on the Metagross without popping a weakness policy is always plus, in my mind, with Tapu Koko. So, that's that. We have Boton, the Cresselia here. This is our after we beat Metagross button. Because one, this thing actually can kind of, like, wall Metagross to an extent. Kind of walls Metagross to an extent. Because it's just a fat psychic type, and it doesn't really have a lot to break through that. So that's kind of cool. We have Rest, Calm Mind, Sleep Talk, and Psyshock. Literally, like, if Metagross goes down, this thing wins. Kind of. Like, obviously Heracross is still a problem, kind of, but not too worried about it. Or fully physically defensive, and one Psyshock's probably going to blow it back, especially if it's +1. So, then we can rest it off. We'll get there when we get there. But, yeah, this thing just kind of can set up against a bunch of things. It can set up in front of Primarina, can set up in front of, can set up on Neolego, to an extent. Probably set up on Xurkitree. This thing sets up nicely in front of a couple things, specifically Metagross, actually. Because Metagross can't break this thing unless he starts getting Metagross, or unless she spams like Meteor Mash, attack boosts, and whatnot. Rest, Calm Mind, Sleep Talk, Psyshock. This thing just beats the rest of the team after Metagross goes down. So that's pretty cool. And so we have Gourmet, the Runerigus, with the Rindoberry, fully SPDF Runerigus, Earthquake, Stealth Rock, Will-O-Wisp, and Poltergeist. This is my guaranteed way of beating. I didn't mean to click that. The guaranteed way of beating both the Xurkitree and or the Neolego, either or. I don't think we can beat both guaranteed. This helps beat the Meteor Beam Neolego set because we switch in on the Meteor Beam, tank the Meteor Beam like it's nothing, and we, with the Rindoberry, we still eat a +1 Grass Knot, which is sweet. And then we kill it with an Earthquake. And against the Xurkitree, obviously we're a ground type, so we prevent its electric type moves from doing anything, as well as being able to Earthquake it and break through it and eat one of its energy balls if necessary. This thing also kind of helps us a little bit with the Heracross. If I fear that the Heracross is going to like start spamming like Mega Horn or something like that, we can tank a hit with, we can take at least one hit with Runerigus, and then we take away its guts with the Wandering Spirit, and I think that's important here, because then the Heracross goes from being really, really strong to really, really weak. So we can deal with that appropriately. Stealth Rock, if I can get it up, would be really nice in this game, because I don't see everything running Boots. And if it is running Boots, it's going to be losing a lot of power. Like things like Blacephalon don't appreciate having to run Boots. Neolego won't appreciate it. Neolego will probably be Power Herb, so a little extra chip damage would be nice. Heracross, especially if it's a Guts set, will not appreciate the extra chip damage on top of Flame Orb damage. Xurkitree, again, doesn't appreciate it because it's already frail as it is. And chip damage on Metagross is chip damage on Metagross. And then I have Poltergeist, just to kind of... because you didn't have anything that resists Poltergeist, I guess, is pretty much my justification for that. It doesn't have anything that resists Poltergeist, and it's a hard-hitting move, so I'm just going to go for it. Plus, if I can get a Will-O-Wisp off on something super strong, like the Metagross, if I can get a Will-O-Wisp on Metagross, that's plus as hell. So we're going to go for that if we can. So yeah, that's our Runerigus. Next up we have, and last but not least, we have Genboo, the Regirock with the Assault Vest. Clear Body, Rock Slide, Earthquake, Ice Punch counter. Max HP, 108 and 2 defense, 148 and 2 special defense. I believe the reason I have 148 in special defense is because I wanted it to be 300. And with the Assault Vest, that's nice. It comes up to a nice 450. And then I threw the rest to defense. I think the defense amount is... I think it's either has something to do with Zygarde or it has something to do with Heracross. I don't think it has anything to do with Metagross. Rock Slide, Earthquake, Ice Punch counter. Counter is fun because there's a lot of mons that... There's the mons that could be hitting us with physical attacks. I definitely would like to just be able to put counter on and KO. Ice Punch allows us to prevent the Zygarde from ever trying to sub up in front of us. We just spam Ice Punch if that thing hits the field and make sure it disappears. Rock Slide for stab. It hits everything pretty hard. And then Earthquake as coverage to be able to deal with things like Neolego and Xurkitree. Pretty straightforward set. Again, I really feel like she's going to bring a lot of the same mons. 6 of those 7 are probably going to show up to the game. I don't foresee her breaking the pattern now, especially 7 weeks deep in the season. So hopefully I'm right. We'll see in the battle tomorrow. But thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, I'm PokePrimer, signing off. Peace.